Today's shiur we're going to continue. This is fascinating halachas over here. We were in the middle of Gimel, so it's going to continue. Tov Kuf Ayin Hey Gimel. Im hischil et kol v'lo yochol hashlim yashlim acher. Somebody else could finish off with afilo shalosh arba. Doesn't make a difference how many people it takes to get the job done. And who knows, maybe this year we're going to have to be very proficient in Hilchos Tkiyas. Sounds like people are getting nervous. And that's only if that the Tokeya was there when they heard the bracha. Now the Mishnah Berurah explains that this is a little bit of a misleading halacha, because it doesn't really make a difference if the Baal Tokeya was there or not, because the people listening are yetzu with the bracha of the first guy. So Mishnah Berurah explains that we're talking about the problem of the Baal Tokeya himself, the second guy. If he wasn't there, didn't hear the bracha, so he has to make new brachas for himself. But as far as the tzibur is concerned, the tzibur is yotze anyways. Even if the first guy made a bracha and he can't blow it all, Hasheni Tokeya below bracha, he could second kick out without a bracha. And it's not a bracha l'vatol. Now here, there's a interesting question, which I'm just going to mention. I'm not going to get involved in it. An issue that happens in Avos Shalom. So we're going to mention this issue. There are people who get mafter, and they are not proficient in order to learn the haftorah themselves, and they make the brachas on the haftorah, and somebody else lanes the haftorah. Okay? Now, whether that is permissible to be done is a little bit of a discussion, and the Taz actually brings that discussion here on our halacha, because what's happening, one person is making a bracha, and the other person is doing the thing. So is that okay or not okay? And it seems to me that it's not necessarily hainu hach, and there's a machlekes between the Magen Avram and the Taz on this specific issue. And when I say I'll leave it, no, I'm not really going to get involved in it because it's not so negeya. But that's what the Mishnah Berurah over here is discussing. Let's continue on. That's my place. It's just in Mishnah Berurah. The Daiba Bracha, the Halacha Rishon Berach, he already took care of everybody. If they weren't there, they have to make their own bracha. In other words, the second guy, the pinch hitter, he really was the Baal Tokeya in the Vasikim minion, or something like that. So he already was Yaitza. So your Baal Tokeya couldn't do the job, so they called him in to finish off. So he doesn't need the brachas because he was already Yaitza, and you don't need the brachas because you already heard from the first guy the brachas. Then Tokeya b'loi bracha, kivun shatzibur kvar shamu, etc. V'lo havi bracha. Atal kivun shasheni Yaitza v'mechasai, because the second person is being Yaitza with his brachas, so therefore there is no problem.
Can you make a block as well? If you know, for example, say that you're going to blow the shofar this here.
You can blow the shofar what?
Say you're going to blow the shofar in the shul at 10 o'clock in the morning. Okay, let's say, and because of the restrictions, you're able to daven in the shul. Like, for example, I live behind the shul on here, on the building behind. I come out onto the balcony at 10 o'clock. I intend to be yoked, say, but here. Am I allowed to make the bracha?
Why would you want to make the bracha? I mean, you didn't hear the brachas from, because you can't hear the bracha from the...
Yes, I hear the shofar, but not the bracha.
100% you're allowed to do that. 100%. Absolutely great. That's what you should do.
Oh, okay, if it comes to that, in that case.
Yeah, hopefully not, right? But that's a different, but there's no problem I'll just say something. Certain things just never change. People always come late. I don't know if you're aware that you saw that people come late, and many times ladies come late, and they want to be yaitz with the brachas, and therefore they say the brachas while the guy's blowing shofar. That's a mistake. Better hear the shofar than hear the brachas. If that's all, if they're going to be hearing the other tkiyas, the tkiyas then umid, then that's a different story. But if they're only hearing the tkiyas through yushuv, so you're not yaitz if you didn't hear all the tkiyas. If you didn't hear a bracha, so that's also a chesaron. You're not yaitz halacha of hearing brachas, but at least you're yaitz of tkiyas shofar. The way that they're doing it, they're not going to be yaitz of tkiyas shofar at all, because they're not going to hear all the tkiyas because they're busy saying the brachas. That's just so you get me nervous a little bit, because even though I just enthusiastically supported what you said, and I'm not changing my mind, how are you going to want to say the brachas?
I mean, I don't know. I'm just like throwing out the idea because I.
We have to get some of the thing here.
Once you heard the first cut, you know it's too late.
Yeah.
Well, I could tell you even better. Maybe you could hear an amen from the first bracha, and then you can hurry up and get two brachas in there before they get started.
I'll definitely hear the shofar.
Well, you won't hear an amen?
I won't hear any brachas.
We hear an amen?
I don't think so, no. When I'm standing on my balcony, I cannot hear the davening in the shul, but I would hear the shofar blowing, because the shofar is something that carries quite a distance.
Okay.
I mean, if we like under these restrictions.
I want to tell you the truth. I'm very highly embarrassed to tell you this, but we say we're starting at 10 o'clock. It doesn't necessarily happen that we start exactly at 10 o'clock. It could be 10:02.
I realize that. So then it's a problem with F6, isn't it? Or you can just make a proper wait 10 minutes without doing anything.
It's also a very big video. I don't know if there's nothing here to make the bracha. You don't know what's going on. Don't know what to tell you. He says he can't hear anything. Where do you live? Are you on the other side? I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
The other alternative I was thinking of, if these going to be restrictions, we know someone that was a professional shofar blower in England, and he'd come perhaps and blow the shofar for us before he goes to davening, because he's a Hasidic person. In which case, does it matter when you hear the shofar, as long as you're in that situation, you hear it before
there's expression in English, or at least in American, beggars can't be choosers.
Yes.
You know what that means?
Right. In that situation, so it would work.
It could work. Yeah. Is that when you're supposed to hear shofar? No, that's not.
You have to stand outside to blow the shofar this year. They told people.
You have to stand outside?
They're worried that the shofar blowing would spread. That's the next discussion.
Why should it be worse than anything else?
It's if the guy has got corona, he blows
no,
the
I understand,
shofar.
but why should it be worse than the guy talking?
No, blowing is a much more expressive.
It goes out.
You blow it.
Droplets or whatever.
So we just put a mask on the shofar.
Nobody asked. That's a serious Lord. It's a serious thing.
Why can't you put a mask on the shofar? It doesn't have to be directly on front of it. It could be it's you can have the shofar over here.
You need 2 meters from here, before it blows into the air conditioning system, and then you're really in trouble. It's a serious thing.
Okay, fine. All right, we'll let David take care of it.
Does it make any difference from the Latin stance that shofar blowing this year is Drabanan instead of Dravisa? It makes no difference whatsoever.
How can I answer that question? Does it make a difference as far as what's concerned?
As far as people that, are going to find it very difficult to...
You come from Chutz La'aretz?
Yeah.
Did you make 2 Sedarim?
Yes, of course.
Was there any difference between the first Seder and the second Seder?
Yeah. Especially if the down here.
I'm just saying that in a good every situation.
Why?
You hear a show because you leave a shoe. But someone that lives.
Right, that's it. If you have a question of Oinus, you have a question of Oinus. This is not a mitzvah that people want to miss out on.
Onus through on a bond.
An onus on a deraisa works also.
No less than a favor.
It's never an aver in Oinus. It's just you didn't do it. Somebody, my brother-in-law made a chasna last night, and my wife didn't go. You know why? Because of Corona. So everybody was wonderful, but you know what? She wasn't there. Oinus, Rachmana Patre. No, nobody has any complaints. It doesn't get you there. No. There is such a Ma'aver Chazal, but do you really think that it's like it? You get schar like you did it, but you think that means that's like you did it?
Well, it's hard to understand that there's a lot of Shemayim, which I imagine if it's a genuine owner situation, which a person has no control over. Like, for example, like many rabbis don't have any children, so they've not fulfilled the mitzvah for Ru.
That's right.
And I'm not held accountable.
You're not held accountable. Even if you get schar, a person was nanas and he didn't do it, malalava koso kilo asol. So that only means in a certain degree. I'll just prove it to you without getting involved. Okay? Moshe Rabbeinu, he was a pretty good Jew. He wanted to go into Eretz Yisrael. Kadosh Baruch Hu said you can't. So Kadosh Baruch Hu said, well, you want the schar for the mitzvahs? I'll give you a schar like they added the mitzvahs. They get to stop davening. So what does that mean?
No one wants to be the
Same as a real thing.
All right. I just want to make this clear. Schar isn't everything. You people, I should say me people, I'm an American, so I believe in the capital system and making money and schar. That's what's really important. That's not what it's all about. That's not what it's all about.
doing Hashem's will.
That's right. So you wanted to do it, and you didn't. You're excused. You didn't do it. What a mitzvah could do for you, it didn't do. It's hard. But there's so many other aspects to it than more than that. But anyways, we hope to have you in shul, not on your merpeset, drinking tea. Okay. All right, let's go right there. All right. Anyways, the next halacha. Achar tokeya v'lo shliach tzibur. The shliach tzibur should not be the baal tokeya, kedei shelo yizbalbel. Because if he gets confused. If he's a fluent guy, it's okay. But after the ones that are in the Shemona Esrei, about why is that? Because he's not going to get mixed up. And if the shliach tzibur is tokeya miyushov, the other person should be tokeya al seder brachos. Yamasra b'mitzvah oimrim lo yigmor. I think that's a very simple concept. Now here's an interesting twist. V'noagim lahakros lefnei atokeya seder atkiyas mila b'mila. We say tkiya, shvarm trua, tkiya. Now, why do we do that? So the guy should know what to say. Where else do we have such a kind of a
Birkas Kohanim?
Berachas Kohanim, right? Now, so I'm going to show you in a second. We're going to look at the Sharet Tziyah. Now, the guy may get confused. By the way, just to make something clear, in this shul, the halacha is a person supposed to be having in mind and understand what he's having in mind to hear. And therefore, there's a code system that actually happens in the shul about blowing things over. You know, there are two things. So, Shorm Truas, so I'm the one who announces Shorm Trua. So sometimes I say Shorm Trua, and sometimes I say Shorm Trua. And the difference is, one is a Nishim Achas, one Shtei Nishivas. And sometimes I could tell the guy to blow over the Tkiyas. And it was the last Kia of a thing. And you think that what he's blowing is the first one of the next set. So what usually happens is when I have a guy blow over again, I don't announce it beforehand. And I usually announce it, what I'm announcing, I announce it out loud. And these are Lahav Dofi Avdol, these are baseball, these signals that, you know, that tell people what's really going on in order to have in mind the right kavanah. Now, I can understand the guy getting mixed up between Shvar and Trua, Shvar and Tkiya, whatever. But the first one, we all know how Tkiya Shafar starts. Right? That's a no-brainer. So is there any reason to announce that Tkiya for the first one? So the Mishnah Berurah has a long piece on that. We're going to see that right now. I think that's the end. Kedei shelo yiteh v'nochon. Okay, says the Mishnah Berurah. I will have to say it. Why? The reason why you're saying the tkiyos. Okay, shafiro tkiyos nikvu al seira brachos. V'mu muftach, v'meino muftach, uleka acher sheyodeh litkah. And if he's not sure that he's going to mess up, this is a fascinating thing. This is a very non-halachic Mishnah Berurah. What do? Have b'tochen. That's what Mishnah Berurah was going to say. This is a strange Mishnah Berurah. And this guy, he's afraid that he's going to get messed up. He's not going to be able to go fluently back into where he has to go into davening. Skip doing it the right way, because you're going to mess up chazaras or shots, because you're not going to know where to get back to. And the kol sheken, if you're yetz with kis miyusha, which we already discussed, that is that true that you're yetz with kis miyusha? Maybe you're not. The yeshamrim, and there are those that say, shem ein shem acher yochol litkoa al seder abrachas aval pi sheina muftach. You're allowed to do against the halach, which we said. Why? The yeshlo livtoach shemin hamashamayim yisayu lasas kahogen. You can rely that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will help him out. How's that for amazing? All right. Anyways, that's what it says. Because you can go back to what you're saying. They split up the tekiyas, giving them to different people. Why? The reason why they do it is they want to be machabed people with mitzvahs. So we don't look at that as a negative thing that the person wasn't goymer, because the reason why is because we want to let everybody have a chance. The guy who daven shachris, he should be the makra. But makom sheish mored tzedek or makra. The Rav is the makra. The gam tkiya rishona yikra lefono. Even the first word tkiya, you should say aval gav deloi shchiach kol kach sheyiteh. It's not so common that people make a mistake. Now, this is a Mogen Avram we're about to say right now. Pama achas lo yichol nitkah. What do? Hafach hashaycher. They turn the shofar over. The kara l'soichoi, and they said into the shofar the pasuk v'hi noam. V'shuv yachol itkah, and it worked. That cleaned out the shofar. What do you say to that? Okay, interesting rinse. Okay, v'ayim b'dagam avoshes adapku b'tkiyas the moment. I'll see some Yoshev how we have sigomer but in you can't do it there. That even in that case you're allowed to do it. He doesn't like this hocus pocus. Why? I'll just tell you today, I did something which I never did before. Someone came to me, they had a shofar that they used for many years, and it fell, and it got a crack. So they asked me, what do we do now? So I said, we take care of the crack, we'll fix the crack. So how are you going to fix the crack? I said, I'm going to cut it out. So I had a tool handy, and I cut the shofar below the, I cut, what? I carved it out and made the shofar back into kosher, right? Now, there was a apostle shofar this morning, and it's kosher shofar now, as far as I know. Anyways, this happens. Shofars drop, and they break. And right now, I just want to say this statement, even though I think it's self-understood. There are many people in the Dalet Minem that before Yom Tov, they're very particular. They go to Rav and make sure that it's kosher and everything. And the ones it's kosher, They don't look at it the whole Yom Tov. They're riding. I changed my oil, when I got my car. So there's no reason for me to change it again, right? Because, things happen to your little Manasseh during the year, and things happen to your shofar during the year, unless you keep it in a very specific place and you don't let anybody get a hold of it. And that's how I usually have the person who's blowing shofar. I have him examine the shofar beforehand, or I examine it beforehand. Don't rely that just because it was good last year, it's good this year. Unfortunately, that's not necessarily so. All right, let's just see the Sharetzian over here. Very interesting Sharetzian. Lamed Aleph. ובאמס אין זה בורר, דגם שם אצלנו כל חוכס, בברכס כהנים, לעניין נשיאת כפיים, שעניין המקרא נלמד נקרא. It's learned out of a pasuk that it says Amor Lahem, which we learned this not long ago in our Hilchos Halacha Shiur. Mikol makom, b'sif Yud Gimel, hadei harishon esrulei de'en tzarich v'tev harishon li'as makre, u'mash rishon b'bir hagra, even by Nisias Kapayim, the Amor Lahem is not Lidina. Because Shkein Hacha, the Ein al Zeh Shum Remez B'Kro. Here there's no remez that you have to have a makra. Rakshin Dilman Mehosam Kedei Shelo Yita. There's actually two reasons. One reason is it says Amor Lahem. Another reason it shouldn't get mixed up. So we borrowed the reason from there and applied it here. And now you're going to go and say that you could create a hefsek. V'chein nir lani is daiti. There we're forced to do like the Yeshnagim and call out Yivarechecha, because that's the minig. Mikol makom bin yanei v'makom she'ei minig yosito shelo lahakris kirishona kidei shelo yeh hefsek lamakre. Better to not do it. Here in this shul, I do it. Why do I do it? Because I asked my Shiva, I said, what's the minig? So the minig is to do it. That's the minig is to do it. So that's what I do. It's not like a personal decision. So that seems to be the minig.
Only so many sounds to make the shelter. Fair signs like you do for the Parsha to Shavua. The person, Rav Avrohom could just hold up the sign, and then he'd know what to blow, and then there'd be no question of hefsek, would there?
I enjoy your question, but I would like to disagree with the premise of your question. But I'm saying right now that there's a machlokes about this. But I'm going to say this happens to be my opinion. You're sitting at your Shabbos table and you want to make hamaitzi, and there's no salt there. So you know this Befurisha
You have to
minig.
speak without the last salt.
Salt! You know, you heard that? You know? Maybe the word please is not necessary. But right? Anything which there's a tzorech, so the pashtus is that it's not a hefsek. It's a tzorech. So it's not a hefsek.
You can avoid, say, the salts at the other end of the table next to a child. And you can
Did
just signal with
you
your
hear what I said? It's not a hefsek. So why did you have to avoid doing something that's not a hefsek?
But we all do it.
What?
We all can.
Yeah, so there's a few reasons why I understand that that's the minig, but I don't think it has to do with what this halachic thing. I believe that that's a very dangerous thing. I say this and I could say that. And, that's not a. But the pashtus is it's permissible to be said, and this is the geya halacha l'maisa. I'll tell you where this is discussed. With Chaim Kanievsky discusses it. Chazon Ish discusses it. A person forgot to take truma, or forgot to take challah, and it's a weekday, and he remembers after he made a mitzvah. The halacha is that truma can be taken b'machshava. I do not have to say harezu challah. Is it better for me to say it or better for me to think it? What should I do? So I'll always tell you, I had a discussion, on daughter that's already not alive many years on this subject about 25 years ago, 20 years ago. It's not so simple that there's any problem with doing it to people. It's not like your premise of your question.
Some say life is a problem, and there's an easy alternative solution, which has no halachic.
Who said there's a problem? Everybody holds you allowed to say it. The other question is it maybe better to do it otherwise? But everybody says that it works. Nobody says that it doesn't work.
Why would it be better not to say it?
Oh.
You could make a bracha before as well.
I didn't understand the last statement. One more time.
You could make a bracha lahafresh challah as well.
And therefore?
It's you fulfill the mitzvah entirely. Bracha with the Maisa mitzvah.
I'm missing something. There's something missing. I'm not getting your question again. The question over here is I made a motzi and I wasn't mafresh my challah yet. Should I be mafresh it? Should I be mafresh it with dibur or without dibur? That's the question.
With the bracha as well?
The bracha for sure I have to say.
Okay, so why wouldn't you? This way, if you say it, you can have an opportunity to make a bracha as well.
No, that's for sure. The bracha you zikr have to say. You can't be a bracha the machshava.
So that's what I'm saying. But machshava only covers the hafrasha, not the bracha.
Correct.
So why would you not say it? What's the tzad?
Because once I already broke my spell by speaking, because that I had to do, and this I don't. So that was permissible, and this isn't.
Okay.
You don't look happy.
I'm listening to what you're saying.
No. I said the bracha, anything, that's for sure, anything which needs to be said can be said. The bracha needs to be said, so we say it. This with the hafresh itself, which doesn't need to be said, it can be thought, so that means you should think it. So what's really bothering Shofar, and he's not saying it, he believes a very common thought that once you spoke, I heard this, I think, from Rabbi Orlovsky once. He said, which cookie is the most fattening cookie in the box? The first one.
Once you get the first one,
Right. Right. So once you already messed up and you already spoke, so now what's the difference? You can say whatever you want, right? That's really what's bothering you, Shofar, right?
No, not at all. You didn't mess up by talking. You have to. That's litzarech the achila. Without that,
Right.
you cannot even eat it. So you're not messing up.
Right. No, I understand. So why should I therefore be able to make the afrosha b'dibur? Well, why should that follow?
Because that's tzarech ha'achila.
No, so that's the question. But I have a way to do it, as he said before. I have a way to do it without speaking. I could do this for the soul. That's the question.
What I'm suggesting is part of the hafrasha is the bracha. You can't do a bracha b'machshava.
Well, you'd have to prove that to me that that's part of the afrosha. The pashas is that that's a different din. There's a din you have to make a bracha, and there is such a tzad though. There's such a tzad of the Achiyaz has such a tzad based on the Gemara and Shabbos. But the pashas is that the bracha and the mitzvah are two different things. All right. Anyways, the next halacha over here.
Don't you say aren't you puzzled for vidu if you didn't make the bracha on hafrasha? The good trumas.
That's a great question. That's a great question. The Achronim are busy with that question. How could you say shalom birachti, which is a steer in the Sifri? If I'm not mistaken, there's an Achleit, the Tziv points that out. The steer in the Sifri. If a bracha is only derabbanan, how could you say that you can't say vidu if you didn't make the bracha? That is a good question to that. But that you didn't answer. You didn't really ask a good question though, Peretz, because that really needs to be explained. How could you say that the vidu needs you to say a bracha? A bracha is only derabbanan. You know that only brachas hamazon, and brachas hatayra are deraisa, right?
Yeah, I was saying that to show that it became an intrinsic part of the mitzvah, so much so that it stops you from saying vidu.
Oh, all right. One more. I'll just ask this question on the subject which you're asking. There's a machlekes rishonim. Let's throw out this idea on a person who has a suffix if he was yetzer Kriya Shema, and therefore he has to say Kriya Shema again. So there's a machlekes rishonim if he says the birchas Kriya Shema again or not. Do I say that now that I'm mechuyev midaraisa to make Kriya Shema again, so then the brachas are part of it, and you say them again, or you say no? There's two different questions, and you're still pater from. You don't have to make the birchas Kriya Shema. But the Achronim, they actually explain why these two things are not interdependent. Okay, the next halacha over here, the last halacha, which is a fascinating halacha, and there's a lot of Achronim charade about it. So I'm going to learn it inside, and anybody wants to get really involved, you can speak to me about it some other time. A person who gets paid to blow shofar, or to be the chazan, or to be the matargam in the olden days, v'shabbos yom tovim, ein aroi me'oisa schar siman bracha. What did I just say? Mutter asur. Mutter.
Not smart.
Right. Okay. Now, whether this is true. Could be. Again, ain't a right siman bracha. I'm not really sure what those words mean, but you give something stuck, definitely you'll have a bracha from that. But what does that mean? Is it really this money, that money, another money, or not? I'm not really sure 100%. I will just say that you just asked that question. It's one of the things that gets on my nerves a little bit, and I'll share this with you. I have a discussion with you about if I owe you money, don't owe you money. This happens a lot of times. They have these kind of thing. So give it tzedakah.
doesn't solve that.
Who gets schar for the tzedakah?
Well, whoever owned the money and maybe.
So then just take the money. What did we accomplish by putting it into the pushka? What?
Maybe not his.
Was that our problem? Well, no, we're not in a fight. I don't know. Do I owe you $50? Do I owe you $100? They say, okay, well, to put the difference in tzedakah.
Means at least you look person, but we are benefiting.
I said, you don't want the schar? I said, you don't want the schar?
It depends if he really owed it or not.
No. Whoever the money belongs to gets the schar for the mitzvah.
Right.
Whether I owed you the money or I didn't, it would just make a difference whether I get schar or you get schar. But somebody's getting schar.
Right. So what's the question?
What?
What's the question?
What's the point of doing that?
The point is because I don't want to take the money if it's not owed me. So I say, okay, so it's
You did.
if you owe me.
You did take the money.
No, he agreed. We agreed that if you owe me the money, I'm giving tzedakah. If you don't owe me money, you're giving it to tzedakah. So either way, we fulfilled everything.
You know what, parents? I have an argument with me whether you owe me $50 or not. Yeah. And as we're discussing it, Mr. Beer's passing by. Say, here, give it to Mr. Beer.
Okay.
He's a wonderful guy. Nothing against you. Why should you benefit from it? What?
But I mean, to do what? So you're saying if I owed you the money, giving to Mr. Beer will be as if I
It's not sure who owes who $50. Either you or me, or right? So I say, so bring it to Ari Waldman. What is that? So either I get a mitzvah for giving to Ari Waldman, or you get a mitzvah for giving to Ari Waldman. What did we solve?
We solved that there's no suffix if you owed me money. We resolved it.
What was resolved? There's nothing resolved.
Resolved that someone who doesn't pay his chov, it's taken care of.
Okay. Well, I think that the answer to the question is that there's a midas issue, which is being addressed. I don't want you to gain on my loss, and you don't want me to gain on your thing. So when we mutually have it go to somebody else, so in our midas, we didn't conquer. I think that's the thought process behind it. I don't think it's anything academic. I don't think so. Anyways, all right. So this is the halacha over here, and there's a machlokes about this. Some places it says actually you're supposed to take schar, and again, somebody who has this issue, they should speak to me in private. It's not really an halacha. But you should just know that it's not such a simple thing. Okay.
Isn't the schar for the rehearsals?
That's how some people do it, but that's not the pashtus. That's not what's going on. That's the way how some people get out of the question. All right, you know what? Maybe we'll stop. What time is it? Okay, I'm stopping over here. Okay, have a good day. Good night. Whatever.
All right. Shkoach.
Yeah.